You're about to hear from Fameez, who is one of the co-founders of Otaa Brothers. And if you'd like to get your hands on one of their beautiful neckties, shirts, or many other accessories that they have available at Otaa.com, we've got a special discount code for you. It's James Lawley 10, which you can use to get 10% off anything at the checkout. So if you want to get your hands on one of their lovely neckties, just like I'm wearing here, use James Lawley 10 at Otaa.com. Fameez, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here and to finally get the chance to speak together. So, for people that don't know you and what Otaa is, tell me, how did two brothers from Melbourne end up being founding one of the most well-known Thai companies on the internet?
So, myself and Shane, we basically started Otaa pretty much out of a point of rebellion against the fashion industry. We got invited to a wedding, and we had walked into a fashion store, and the person who was serving us at the time looked like he didn't want to really work there, and we needed to get like a necktie and a shirt, and we decided that we wanted like the one that was on the table, but the neckties, they were kind of placed next to like a bin. You can tell at the time, this is going back 14 years ago, that no one really wanted to deal with ties and shirts that were quality. And so it was kind of born out of that. Like the guy kind of sort of walked over and kind of served us and kind of shrugged his shoulders. And when we walked out, we said, "This can't be the experience at this price." And yeah, after that moment, we had decided that we wanted to kind of begin building a fashion brand from there, like at a point of almost rebellion against the fashion industry. Sort of growing up, we used to watch like Sean Connery smoke a cigarette on the Bond films, Harrison Ford sort of running like away from a boulder, and he would always wear like a cool shirt and tie. And we always kind of thought where they would get those big Hollywood outfits from. It was always kind of a mystery to us. And so like when those were the outfits that we kind of looked up to, and come back sort of full circle 14 years later, Otaa's kind of grown past 400,000 customers. And what's kind of crazy is like those big studio departments, whether it's from sort of Netflix or Warner Bros., they actually ordered their ties off Otaa. And we actually had, in the latest Indiana Jones film, their costume department buy their ties off Otaa. So it's kind of a full circle moment. I know I was chop-chopping a story around a little bit, but that's kind of the early bones of Otaa.
Take me back to that moment you decided we're actually going to start a fashion brand. What was the landscape like at that time? I mean, how insane did it seem to start a Thai company?
Yeah, I think that in terms of starting a fashion brand going back, I think there only were like the major players. And so e-com was very early on. This is at a time where people didn't really trust putting their credit cards like on a website. So this is going back quite a while. So for us wanting to start a fashion brand that specialized in formal wear, shirts and ties, was kind of a crazy sort of thing, especially with like the industry where it was, there were the main players. And I think like if you were to start something, especially from ourselves, that we didn't come from a fashion background, there wasn't like a great grandparent who was a tailor's tailor, and you know the son of spawned a tailor. Like we kind of came from the approach of first principles, like what's the best quality product that we can make, what's the best quality design that we can kind of put together. So just through grit, really, starting it back then, we're able to kind of amass a cult-like following that's kind of been worn in, like I said, big Hollywood movies, TV shows, the White House, Australian Parliament. And I think it was just a natural rebellion against taking the fashion industry is very, very serious. It kind of takes itself very seriously. And we're kind of the antidote to that.
You've mentioned that you and your brother didn't come from a classic fashion background. Do you think being outsiders to the industry actually gave you a kind of edge?
That's a really good question, man. Like very well put. Like I think if you come from anything from an outside perspective, you generally rethink everything. So if we're comparing what the industry was at the time, generally, for whatever reason, if you go into a fashion house, there's a general disposition that an underlying almost like arrogance. Like if you walk in, they kind of like we feel, and especially in Australia, they kind of hate you. Like it's a very weird, bizarre thing, and they're able to charge like a higher price because of that. So the outside perspective is like, okay, well, we can make great quality ties and shirts and not hate our customers. So I always encourage people to Google, for example, Otaa reviews, because we generally love our customers. We wouldn't have gone into like over 400,000 customers without doing that. And so generally the first principle is like, can we like our customers? If they, can we give them products that they actually enjoy at an extremely high quality? So I think the outside perspective is kind of important. And I think that comes through to a lot of things in life as well. I think if you come from it from a, like whether you're starting a business or you're, I'm sure starting like a YouTube channel or anything, just having that outside perspective allows you to have a fresh take on the industry. And I think the industry tries to reject you as well. Because you don't come from that sort of background. But I think I think that approach allows you to have a fresh take.
You've got this mix of a very old world kind of elegance, and then you've got this fun digital marketing side to things. Where do you see Otaa sitting between the kind of old guard of the fashion and the style world, and now this new generation that we have of online brands and online creators?
Yeah, I think it's very well put. I think it's kind of pairing the old guard with the new generation. And so there's a passing of hands sometimes that happens when you have a old institute that don't upgrade with the latest. I don't like saying marketing techniques because it does seem almost gimmicky. What I would say is like just almost plugging into the new era, the new generation where our customers, they're everywhere, whether it's online, offline. I mean, our biggest thing in terms of marketing is word of mouth. Like we don't get to that viral coefficient without other people telling other people about the great experiences they've had with Otaa. But yeah, that does make sense. It's an interesting take, and I think that as time goes on, like I think the general businesses, and this is with any business, like you see this with restaurants and cafes, using new digital techniques to communicate their businesses online.
You've mentioned rent notices and overdue bills a few times in other interviews. Can you paint the picture of what it looked like in year one of Otaa when there was no money, no audience really? What did that actually look like day to day?
Yeah, so my brother and myself, we don't come from money. So I remember at the time, it was actually kind of incredibly difficult time for us as well. Like we couldn't afford to pay rent. I remember the big red notices with like rent overdue and water bills due and gas bill due and like all the fundamental things you need to survive was actually an incredibly difficult time. So there was a necessity, like a born out necessity element where we had to figure it out as well. So 14 years for us has been quite a time, but the 14th year was nowhere near what year one was. Year one was, like you said, putting a website together, putting together the brand, what we stood for, what does Otaa actually stand for in terms of ocean, ties, apparel, Australia, what the sustainable element was, because we come from Australia. We represent the coastline as well, which is very important to us as well. And so all these things kind of gradually transformed the brand into what it is today. But yeah, year one was like, okay, you put a website up, you design the products, you put everything together, and then the website goes live, crickets. There's no one's going to come. Like, how do you get the word out there? And I think, and this is with any business as well, because I'm trying to like give some broad principles to give your viewers like some advice as well. Like, I think I think the long termness of anything that you stick to, like if you start anything, if you give up year one, it goes to zero. And so, like, we're 14 years in. I can proudly say Ota's been a massive cult following. But if we gave up after year one, just trying to get the word out there, whether it's whether it's Reddit forums, whether we made YouTube videos, um, it was friends, families, fools, fanatics, as they say, to put orders through. Like once you can get through that, and stay in a long term, you can really see some really, really cool results. And that's kind of what's happened for us. People really took to the product. That was the biggest marketing thing for us. Like we were known for neckties and now shirts, but just long term thinking.
Was Ota your first swing in business, or had you already had a couple of ventures that you tried and failed before?
No, yeah, I think we had a string of businesses at the start. Like, I think the cool story would be this is like the first business, and it was a slam dunk, but it was definitely not the case. I think beforehand we were selling. We tried to sell like kitchenware online, and we did a few things. I remember selling phone cases, and there were a few things, but they were kind of very short lived because we weren't really into I guess the product. The thing that we were obsessed with was those big old cinematic films. And when we decided that, we're like how come we can't get those ties and shirts that we see in GQ magazine, or like when Sean Connery's in the movies? Like why isn't that available to the public? Why are they just reserved for the big stars? And we kind of deconstructed it backwards, almost like a clock. I'm breaking it together, putting the pieces back together, and allowing it to tick. And that's kind of where we took that approach. So when we solved for a bigger problem and we're all in, that's where things changed.
Before the brand, were you and your brother, the guys that were always paying attention to style and what people were wearing, or did that interest really come later, more with the business?
100%. I think we're naturally love to dress. We naturally observe fashion trends globally, and I think like that's we're fans, we're fanatics. You know, we're fans first of like people dressing well, and yeah, I think that approach allowed us, and having the outside perspective as well. Like, can we create a business that stood for dressing well, sustainability, and also didn't take itself so seriously like every other fashion market or business. That's kind of where the legs kind of stood up, I'd say.
Let's say there's a 21-year-old guy listening to this and he's thinking of starting his own menswear brand or accessories brand in 2025. You know, where does he actually start? What should he be really focused on, be obsessed with even in his first year?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, yeah, naturally speaking, if you're very first, we want to get a website up, and mind you, like anyone who does any business, I always tip my hat to them because I think it's incredibly difficult. You have to put yourself out there. You can't get judged by everyone as well, saying you're not doing it right. And then you have a vision and you want to mold it into a certain way. So first off, I would say hats off. The second thing I'd say is like, in terms of getting that initial traction, there is no secret formula. Like with e-commerce, like there are the go-tos that everyone knows, which is now it's like TikTok marketing, there's Instagram, there's Facebook. I think the way we started Otaa and the way it's grown is like, it's a very unique approach because like we took big bets on creative storytelling with the brand, creative ads that resonated as well. We like to parody sort of tropes as well with the commercials. Like, for example, like we've got like an Indiana Jones ad that went sort of viral. That's like a parody of the Indiana Jones adventure genre, and just adventure genre in general. But the reason I'm making that as an example is like it's a very unique set of principles that allowed that to take. It's not but if you look at the fundamental principle of just focusing on like traffic is for a website, getting the word out there by any means necessary, and using the digital marketing tactics as much as you can. But if you're starting, I think focusing on organic is really good. You don't need to pay to play. You can work out the algorithm for Instagram or Facebook and try and figure out content sort of that way. But I guess like the TLDR is like our approach when we started. The game is it changes every month. So 14 years ago is a totally different playbook to what it is now. We generally took off really well because we created a massive YouTube series on how to tie a tie, how to tie a bow tie, how to wear a shirt. And that initially got us some consistent traction at the start.
By the way, I've got to thank you personally, actually, because I remember those video series that you made of how to tie a tie and the different knots. And when I got my first knitted tie, I was very confused, and your video was actually the one that taught me how to do it. So I'm really grateful that you made those. Internally, was that like a big moment moving into that kind of content production? Because I think a lot of people will actually know you from those videos, maybe.
Yeah, I think I'm very happy that it served you really, really well, man. I remember shooting that, and we bought a book of how to tie all the tie knots. And there's actually so many ways you can tie a tie. So this is before, so we documented how to tie a tie, how to tie a Merovingian knot, how to tie like the Trinity knot, all the knots that the fashion industry really hate. We're like, stuff it. We'll document it. Because again, we don't come from a pretentious place. We're just like, if that's what the consumers want, that's what we'll give. Like if Merovingian knot makes you feel good, then go for it. And I think it's really, really important. But I'm really happy that the yourself got value out of it. Actually, it brings me a lot of joy because I remember shooting those and writing them and like looking at the old wiki guides. Like we actually bought a book and converting them into a YouTube series. Really, really cool, man.
You guys were quite early on Instagram as well. What was it like a few years ago, back in those early days of Instagram, before influencers were really even a thing? I mean, how did you use that to grow the brand?
To your point, 14 years ago, like a lot of brands didn't want to have an Instagram account because they didn't believe in social media at the time. It was so early on. No one really understood it, and the power of it. And so we got the Instagram handle OTAA. And at the time, it actually wasn't Otaa. We actually had a different Instagram handle. It actually turned into Otaa recently. And we were able to secure Otaa and Otaa.com for the 4 letters. But the power of social media then and now, I think it's transformed. So at the time, we'd call them influencers now, but back then it didn't really have a word for it. Like now it's a very coined term, influencer marketing. But then we work with people who like to dress well, and so it was really cool because like it was almost like private fandom of like people wanting to dress well, and it was like there was no sort of money in it. It was just more just like, hey, I want to dress well, how I'm going to look good on Instagram, and who I'm going to show that to, and people were amassing really big audiences. So again, I learned off a lot of people who just dress well on Instagram as well, and I get inspiration just like everybody. And we worked with a lot of people then to help kind of get the word out there. Now it's a different thing altogether. I think Instagram's kind of blown up, especially in like, I'd say even the women's space as well. They say 80 to 90% of all purchases come from women. So even with Otaa.com, females tend to purchase on behalf of their partners. So I think what you represent in terms of getting guys to dress well and that message, I think it's really cool. That's why we love talking with you and speaking with you. I learned off your videos. I actually watched one yesterday. You're going through your wardrobe, and these are the shirts that you wear and the ties you wear. And I just think it's incredible, like having that knowledge and teaching the audience how to dress. It's really, really cool. And we do it at a global level as well. We're Australian based company for Otaa, but we work with people from Italy to USA to England, to South Africa. We're a globe-trotting brand that's kind of been everywhere. So yeah, we just love learning from people who love to dress.
Today, it can almost feel like you don't even exist as a business if you don't have an online presence. For you, when did that go from being social media is something fun and it's something extra to it's completely mandatory and essential for growth?
100%. Yeah, it's shifted, man. It wasn't the case. I remember going to an expo 14 years ago, and it was like a business expo talking about how to market your business. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll go. I remember the guy speaking at the front, bald-headed dude, mustache, ran a fashion brand, and his pitch was, "Hey guys, if you don't have an Instagram for a business, please set it up. This is how you do it." Like, can you imagine like doing that now as business advice? You want your money back, but that's kind of what the advice was going back like a decade ago. So it shifted, man. Like, it's shifted just to what we know, and in terms of it taking it for a like taking it for what it is in terms of how it's just a necessity. You just need it, like for a business.
So I think a lot of us have seen that clip of Jesse Waters on Fox News turning over his tie and showing that he's wearing an Otaa tie and calling them the best ties in the world. What kind of relationship do you have with Jesse, and what was that moment like for you on your side of the screen?
Yeah, we're really fortunate about Jesse Waters wearing Otaa, and we're very grateful that he does. So on Fox News, I think someone had wrote a question in asking where does he get his ties from, and he just flips it over, and he's like, "Oh, Otaa brothers from they're from down under," and so he's been a natural fan of the brand, and been very fortunate that the Fox News department had purchased their ties of Otaa, and I think there've been a lot of news anchors around the world that have worn Otaa as well, from channels in Australia. We've got Channel 7, Channel 9 News, Channel 10 News, like all the news anchors kind of here wear it. All around the globe on different news stations. We've had NBC place an order. We've had just costume departments everywhere. So I think we're kind of like the go-to people for a lot of studio departments to wear Otaa, and like our ties have been featured in like TV shows like Better Call Saul, Law and Order. Like, yeah, it's just been kind of crazy how far the reach has gone. And even to this day, I get surprised. I'm like, oh, well, this is going to the White House. Oh, well, this is going to Australian Parliament. It's definitely a bit of a pinch me, especially going back 14 years ago when we're just trying to figure out how to like get a website live.
So how does it actually work getting your ties and your clothes onto TV shows and into movies? I mean, are you just getting random orders from costume departments on the website, or are there conversations happening behind the scenes?
In terms of, so if you're making a movie or a TV show, they generally allocate a costume department. And so their costume department places the order on behalf of these big Hollywood stars. And then, like, even we get surprised. It's like, oh, this one's going in Operation Fortune. Oh, this one's going in like this Netflix movie that's coming out. Oh, it's going in a Marvel movie. This is so cool. Like, but generally speaking, the production houses allocate like a costume department, and it's their job to procure the outfit. So we've worked with a lot of costume departments from Hollywood movies all around the globe who wear shirts and ties from Otaa. We've had like Nick Cannon wear Otaa. The list is kind of crazy how far it's gone, but it comes back to, I think, extremely great quality, extremely great like customer service, and just like I think we've got a really good range as well. So I think if you want to look like, I don't know, Indiana Jones, you can, because we've got like the exact tie they would wear. And then, like I said, the crazy thing is their costume department ended up ordering off us. So the wide range definitely helps.
How does it feel when you sit down to watch one of your favorite TV shows and you actually recognize one of your products on the screen?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So sometimes like it would just say the TV show. So Better Call Saul, it would be like going to Better Call Saul, the TV show, or Tulsi. It's the one with Sylvester Stallone, Tulsi King. So just say it's going to it's going to those places, and sometimes they'll be a bit more sort of vague in terms of it. They use codes to like they codify the order to like to get the order through to the TV show. So yeah, in terms of that, yeah, it's just interesting because like yeah, going back, I mean, we would always watch those movies and think like, where do these guys actually get all these products from? So the full circle moment always it does pinch me every single time, like they're getting it from Down Under now, which is kind of cool.
So what happened to the website when the Fox News clip went viral? I mean, did you actually see it in the numbers, in the sales straight away?
Yeah, he's just amazing. Like when organically, again, we're very very fortunate, very very lucky that he's done that. Like impact that. Like I remember going onto a dashboard of the website, and I thought it was broken because it said there was like 30,000 people on Otaa.com at the same time. I'm like, there's something wrong here. Things are glitching, things are breaking. That's the power, man. You get 30,000 people on the website at the same time. It doesn't even make any sense. So close to breaking the website. That's like the correlation between like sort of a sort of shout out from him. Yeah, it's insane.
It's funny because we're all obsessed with social media and numbers and virality, but then a quick shout out on a traditional television channel can be an absolute game changer. Where do you see the balance now between traditional media, and then social media? Like, what's the reality you see? Is traditional media still going strong?
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, like whoever says social, so the traditional media is dead, they're insane. They carry the most influence, the most gravitas. Like we've seen it firsthand. We've worked with amazing influencers all around the globe. Nothing comes nothing comes close to like the old guard giving the new guard a shout out. So it's very very cool. Yeah, I agree, man.
There's also a certain well-known politician who has been seen wearing his animal print ties. I mean, what's the backstory there? A lot of them are from Otaa, right?
So I think he got gifted Otaa ties on the circuit when he was running for president. So we know this because like people would email us saying they wanted to gift him some Otaa ties, and then I think he got known for wearing animal ties. I think there was like a bunch of articles online, like I think in the New York Times, trying to work out like where does he buy his ties from, like what are they, and yeah, like and then if fast forward to now, like he just places the orders directly, and he just gets animal ties. It's always surreal to see that as well. So he's known for wearing the animal Otaa ties from Down Under, and yeah, loves the turtle ones, the all the animal kind of centric ones, because I think it pairs up well with I guess the conservation effort and yeah, the more playful nature of it.
For two brothers from Melbourne, when you have a family like the Kennedys associate themselves with your brand and wear your pieces, I mean, what does that feel like to have a family with so much history and so much prestige be associated with Otaa?
Yeah, I think that like having a Kennedy wear Otaa is again one of those pinch me moments, because the name carries a lot of gravitas, especially in Australia Down Under. Like it's kind of crazy, and I think the older Kennedys, yeah, they've been known for, I think their playboy nature and wearing like the fashion, their fashion, the way they wore the suits and ties, and it's very very cool to see. Like a lot of inspiration comes from JFK, obviously, in terms of how you used to style the ties.
I feel like we're in this weird cultural moment, especially for men, where half of the men are wearing hoodies and slides and wife beaters. The other half secretly want to look like Sean Connery in James Bond. From your perspective, why does dressing well, dressing in shirts, ties, all of that, why does that still matter?
Yeah, amazing. Like, I think that classic, your style reminds me of like if you walked into like a very cool jazz bar in like the 80s and it's like everyone's dressed wearing awesome ties and bow ties and someone's playing piano in the back, chuffing cigars. I think you represent that really well and you capture that really well. And I think there's something to be said about guys dressing better, wearing shirts, wearing ties. I know I'm not wearing an Otaa tie, I'm wearing a shirt now, the Otaa shirt. Um, but I do really think that there's something to be said about dressing better. I think it allows you to um, land better jobs. Like I think the world that we live in, like people say, don't judge a book by its cover, but I think people ju- people do judge books by their covers, and people do just read the headlines. And I think like if you walk into the room, the presence that you have by wearing like a great shirt, a great tie, great blazer, it transforms yourself, it transforms your confidence, it transforms the way you're able to articulate yourself, and I think it really does help. So because I think because we've seen it in the 14 years that we've been in business, there's been this trend of like almost like the death of the necktie, even though our sales dictate the otherwise. Like our necktie is growing, sales are growing year on year on year, which is kind of crazy because people always ask us, it's like, do people even wear neckties anymore? I'm like, yeah, you've got politicians, you've got people in Hollywood movies, you've got people getting married, you've got people going to funerals, you got people like there's actually a market if you close your eyes and think about it. Like the almost the death of the necktie, we've kind of seen as a trend, and people have opted more for like the t-shirts and that kind of stuff. But I'm noticing that what's really cool is like that's almost dying out really quickly, especially post COVID, where people were forced to just wear like pajamas at home and work. Like people want to dress up, people want to wear the shirts and the ties and the suits, and it commands the room differently from what we've seen. I mean, like if someone's going for a job interview and they're wearing a t-shirt, and you're a boss, you would look at them in one way. And unfortunately, this is the world that we live in. We live by books by their covers. But if they were to wear a shirt, tie, and they held their back up straight, I think it means all the difference.
So on the customer side, who is actually buying Otaa? Is it men buying for themselves, or is it actually women buying for their husbands, boyfriends, sons, etc.?
Bro, it's all women. Yeah, I think yeah, it's the split's interesting. I think that Otaa shirts are now the number one product on Otaa.com, which we're really proud about because we got nominated for like the Australian Design Fashion Industry Award, which is like it's like the Oscars of like the fashion industry down here. In terms of the split, I would say that you got people getting married who wear ties. You've got people going to work and like whether it's like you're working as a CEO corporate. We had massive CEOs wear Otaa as well. I don't want to name drop too much because I feel bad just almost exposing like our customers. They're almost like private customers. But close your eyes and think about the big CEOs of the planet. They're wearing Otaa if they're wearing a shirt and tie. We've had like I'm trying to think what else is the avatar. People going to work, man, is interesting because so our sales dipped a lot during COVID because there was no weddings, there was no one wearing ties and shirts, people working from home. But we had a massive resurgence post sort of the COVID era when people wanted to kind of dress up again. So yeah, I think the main ones are wedding for like us, weddings, corporate, like Hollywood movies, TV shows. And like news anchors and politicians. I think those are the guys that you would see just wear shirts and ties like all the time.
Yeah, speaking of COVID, that must have been absolutely brutal for a brand that's associated with more formal clothing. I mean, what was that period like for you as a founder? How did you keep the business going when nobody was really wearing shirts and ties at that time?
Yeah, COVID was scary, man. For businesses globally, and I don't like to like sing a song of like misery because I think a lot of businesses suffered, a lot of businesses closed down during the time. It was actually really, really difficult. And as I said at the start of the phone call, I always tip my hat from anyone who runs a business. And that time was about conservation of Otaa business wise. reducing costs where we can, trying to keep our staff on as much as we can, taking care of everybody. And yeah, we just kind of held our breaths as much as we could, which served us well because, again, this is back to the long-termness of everything. When COVID ended, like there was a resurgence in everything in terms of formal wear and weddings and everything else in between.
I actually started introducing my audience to Otaa because I would make videos like how to dress like James Bond or how to dress like Patrick Bateman. And I found that you guys had a lot of very affordable alternatives to the exact pieces that those actors had worn, whether it was a tie or a set of cufflinks. On your end, how intentional is that? Are you actually consciously reverse engineering Hollywood looks?
Firstly, yeah, I love that you're teaching the audience how to pretty much dress like these characters but do it at a price that's reasonable, because that's how my brother / co-founder Shane feel about this industry. Like, we love that shirt or tie, but you're like, what? It's like $800 for a tie or a shirt. Does this even make any sense? Like, because we cater towards everybody. Again, this is the antidote against the fashion industry, where we're trying to give it to people who want to dress well. Like, we didn't come from money at all. Like, I remember receiving the rent bills still, and it still gives me PTSD about the whole thing. So I do appreciate you giving those how-to series of how to dress like these characters as well. As a sidebar, our goal is to get Bond to wear Otaa in the next one, because I know they're still speculating who the next Bond is, but we're working with some Bond like insider campaign people to help get Otaa being worn at least once in one of the next Bond films. That's definitely one of the secret goals of Otaa, because we've been in so many Hollywood movies now. That's if James Bond can wear, because they always make a big deal like of the car that he drives. Obviously, it's Aston Martin, the watches that he wears, but no one really cares about the ties or shirts that he wears as much. You don't really know off the back of your hand what it is. So we're campaigning secretly, James Bond in the future, wear Otaa.
So how do you and your brother actually design a tie or a shirt from scratch? What's the process from, we like this look, we've seen it in a movie, to actually making it a finished product that ends up on the Otaa website and then hanging in somebody's closet?
So my brother and I are the sort of co-founders and co-designers as well, but I would say Shaheen does, like, he's there on the ground actually designing things with sort of the factories. And in terms of it, the design aspect of it, we actually come from a data approach. So it's a bit of a weird one. So this is back to the old guard versus the new guard. The old guard hates data, and the fashion industry in the past, like, they don't use any of the tools that we use. We look at what people are searching for, what sort of, like, for example, let's go with like a tie, for example. Like, people think that there's not much design to a tie, but there actually is, like, in terms of the width. How fat do you want it? Do you want it to be this fat and be like a grandpa necktie? Want it this skinny and be like a shoestring trendy kind of tie? So there is a decision sort of matrix that we go through, but we inform a lot of it through data, what people actually want, and also what we see on the big screen as well. Because, like, again, back pairing it up to, if I'm seeing similar to what you like, it's funny because you come from the point of view of, like, if you want to dress like Sean Connery, you can get it from this brand for $1,000, or you can go to Otaa and get it for $60. We look at the designs of those big movies and we deconstruct it backwards from there, and then we have our twist on it as well, make it more modern, approachable. For example, like a bow tie. Previously, like, you could have it. They're pretty difficult, like with the buttons in terms of strapping it all together, but we try to make it accessible as well. So we're the through line between practical design that's affordable, not insane at a luxurious price, and also using data to kind of pull it all together. Trying to think what else was there, and using a sustainable approach as well, because that's at the ethos of the brand as well.
What are some of your personal favorite pieces from your Otaa collection? I mean, how do you suggest also that the guy who's buying it chooses the right shirt or the right tie for the right occasion, whether he's going to a wedding, to the office, going out on a date.
It depends. I personally really like the linen Otaa ties. They're my personal favorite. Um, I like the fabric and the textures and the coarseness of everything. If you're a news anchor, you generally like the ties that have satin in it. So are microfiber. Most of them are made from the recycled sort of plastics, and so like I think news anchors they generally like sort of those kind of designs. If you're getting married, you're generally trying to, and we've helped people who are getting married dress up. You're matching it to a bridesmaid dress, and they go through with that. I always like to say, because people always ask me, what's the formula? Like, what should I wear? And I always say, man, it's whatever you want. Like, anyone who tells you otherwise, like, they're wrong. Everyone's just got their opinions. And this is back to the snootiness of the fashion industry, where they like to judge you. It's like, oh, you're doing it wrong. You're not doing it wrong. If that's what you want, if you want to wear an orange tie on a brown suit, go ahead. If you want to wear a blue necktie on a white suit and it makes you feel good, I think go ahead. I just don't like the pretentiousness of the industry telling you what to do. I think it's really important. If you feel good and you want to dress up like someone that you saw in the movies, I think it's great. If you want to wear a different kind of outfit, I think as long as you're confident in yourself, I think that's what's most important in terms of the choices that you make.
There's a lot of advice out there about menswear on the internet. Amidst all of the noise, I mean, what do you find most frustrating? Where do you think it's helpful to have a rule book? And where do you actually feel like it kind of chokes people's creativity and personality?
The rigidity of the rules. Yeah, I always question the rule book. I think it's my default nature to question rules in general. I think what I love about the fashion influencer space is there is an educational element. So my endpoint is like dress however you want. However, if you want like actual advice, listen to people like yourself, because you know which colors pair well with each other. You have a classic sort of attention to flair, and I think that's really, really important as well. I mean, like again, starting the business, I always looked up to people like yourself who knew how to dress so well, and they do present the rule book, which I think is a good thing in terms of the actual principles of how to dress well. But I also think that if it doesn't agree, if you in your gut you want to wear something else and some influencer online said not to, like it's like just wear the thing, man. That's because the number one thing where we get is like, so people like to wear neckties and pocket squares. They like to match it. The influencer space would lose their minds if we said like I think 80% of customers on Otaa.com match their neckties and pocket squares. Yeah, it's a lot. So a lot of people get, but I'm like, hold on, these are people like tradies getting married, like or people who are like doctors or nurses who are wearing neckties and pocket squares for the one day they wear necktie and pocket square and they want to match it because their wife told them to and they like it. Wear it, like it's fine. It's not a big deal. I think it's good as long as you enjoy it. That's the viewpoint I've got, and I think that attitude again, as well as like the storytelling element of Otaa and the creative element, where we just want to invite everyone in. Like I think it's important. I think that's how we're being able to attract people from, like I said, these big movies, the White House, the Australian Parliament, because we don't tell people what to do. If the choice, I think you can kind of see the big choice on Otaa.com. We allow people to choose their own journey. It's like a choose your own adventure game.
Well, now we've got AI, it can literally tell you, pair this tie with this shirt, and it's done in 2 seconds. So where do you see the value of the real world and more human influences today?
Yeah, I agree. I think the rules, as I said, especially with AI, where you can ask it to pair, well, if I'm wearing a blue tie, what color shirt should I wear? If I'm, and it'll tell you exactly the air quotes correct answer. But I do think there's value in the influencer space for people influencing fashion. I personally learn of people's, you know what it is? You can't fake authenticity. And I really do believe that. I think if you're authentic about a certain subject matter and like people think you're incorrect or correct, but you're authentic in your knowledge and viewpoint of it. I think that comes through in the fashion influence space. And I think that's kind of where it's shifted to as well, because AI will be able to do everyone's job and everyone's thing, which is kind of crazy, especially when we're seeing like the advancements every single month. I'm not even saying years. Like, I mean, even internally at Otaa, we're using it to help like brainstorm ideas. It can generate images now, which is kind of crazy. It can help just tidy up things. I'm sure AI would have done a better podcast than you or me. Who knows? Like that people want to listen to. But on the flip side, I think that's also not true as well, because I think people want to listen to people, and that's where I kind of come back to as well. Like it's kind of like why we watch two people who are the world's greatest play chess with each other, as opposed to watch two machines war it out like Terminator. I think that the relationship with people is really, really important. And there's a globetrotting element as well to this as well. Like, because we, Ota and, you know, myself and my brother, co-founder, we travel around the world to all these places, whether it's Vietnam, the UK, where there's very eclectic, interesting fashion industry, fashion that's going on in these old swanky jazz bars, smoking cigars. But if you see someone there at the back of the jazz bar and they're smoking a cigar and they got a cool loose pocket square and it's like a Vietnamese dude, and then like I've had this happen to me where the guy comes up to myself and they like pat you in the back and they look at how you dress, and they give you style advice. It coming from the person just means a lot more than I think than, you know, getting told by AI what to do. So I think the offline translates to online in terms of the relationships, but I don't think you can replace people. And I saw YouTube recently, actually, they've started to, again, this is the nerdy part of me, like started to demonetize pure AI content, which I'm actually, yeah, I think I'm actually very happy about that, because otherwise we would have just saw a sludge of AI channels getting booted up and monetizing that. So I think there's something to be protected around the person.
When it comes to people knocking off Ota products, mimicking your work, how do you feel about that, and what do you think is the best approach to take there?
You're unique in terms of your brand. Like you can't copy your brand as well. Similar to Ota, where we've had so many knockoffs of the Ota brand, people trying to mimic our like creative artwork, the Ota scripts, our designs, the shirts. But it goes nowhere because you can't copy the originality that comes behind it. Like if you come up with an idea and you like it, you get inspiration, you put a team behind it, and you try and execute on it. Like I think people will copy, but I think that's one thing. The idea what you're doing, where it's a brand of one, I think you can't emulate that, and that comes back to the authenticity element as well.
You know, I think that's why I love your brand so much. It's kind of like we're fighting the same battle, just on two different fronts. You guys are helping men look their best without spending a fortune. I'm trying to inspire them, give them the resources and the education that they need to be that guy that they want to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow steam your way, but I think what you've done in terms of your YouTube channel and Instagram is so cool. Like you built you cultivated like a gentleman, like you carved out this niche where guys want to dress better, which I really appreciate. Because I mean, when me and Shaheen, my co-founders, try to start the brand, fundamentally we're trying to solve for guys wanting to dress well, and we've seen the ebbs and flows of, you know, the hoodies coming in to t-shirts and dressing comfortably and that kind of stuff. But what you stand for is cultivating a community of like-minded people who want to dress well, have manners, open the door for women, like eat elegantly, speak well with authority. I think all those things are so critical, and it's very cool that you amassed such a big following in such a short amount of time. And I think that's why like Ota the brand, and even you just yourself, and we gel really well, because I think fundamentally there's a lot of principles that we're just trying to help educate the audience and allow them to actually get products at a reasonable price and do the thing as well. So I think you've done an incredible job doing that. Like I said, a brand of one, man, very unique.
What do you think it is about those old school masculine archetypes that still resonate so strongly with men today?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's funny how the same style icons that we looked up to, yeah, the Sean Connerys, yeah, the Roger Moores, and yeah, the Harrison Fords. It's really cool, and I I think that the audience and people, they just like, I think us acting as a bridge between almost the ethereal, untouchable world that you see on the big silver screen, and saying, "Hey, by the way, you can look like that dude. Like if you get this product and comb your hair in this sort of way, you stack a few of those things up, are you going to look like exactly Sean Connery with his cheekbones? I wish, but I think it's not even about like he's the genetic element. It's rather like just his ability, the way he holds himself is so important. Like I think on camera and off camera, and what that character archetype represents, which is that confidence, gentlemanliness. Sorry, I don't know if that's a word. I'm just made it up. If that's the case, don't take it. I think it's really cool, man. I'm gonna flip the interview a little bit. What made you want to teach a community of gentlemen to essentially you're acting like Colin Firth in The Kingsman. You got this young person coming in, and you've got you're the guy who's dressed well, wearing the suit, and you're teaching the Eggsy equivalent, which is the male population, how to dress. How's that happen?
Well, I started Gent Z purely as a passion project. I come from a journalistic background, and I'd spent most of my early 20s working in journalism and just not feeling like I was able to express myself or share the things that I wanted to share or help people in the way that I wanted to help them. I mean, I have this fascination with a kind of old world luxury and elegance, but also living a life of discipline, living a life of purpose, enjoying yourself as well with cigars, jazz, cocktails, travel, whatever that may be. So, for me, the mission was always to create a generation of gentlemen, and that comes in many forms. It's education, it's inspiration, it's a sense of community as well. What we have with the Gentleman's Institution is a place where guys can network and actually make genuine friendships with each other, because that's something that's really, really needed today, and it's a hell of a lot of fun as well. So, starting this was just the best decision I've ever made, and it's also meant that I'm able to have conversations like this with you and connect with fascinating people.
That's cool. Yeah, I think as I said before, the authenticity, you can't really fake it, and if you do, you get called out on it pretty quickly. And it's very cool to see how your pivot between journalism to teaching people on YouTube how to dress, how to date, how to hold themselves. It's a very unique kind of niche, but there's not actually that many examples online on kind of how to do it well, in my opinion. I think back when I was growing up, I don't know if it still exists, but Ask Men was a thing. I don't know if you heard that website. So yeah, you remember? Yeah, so that was like kind of when we grew up, that was kind of what we had looked at in terms of like the dating principles, and what you meant to do when what you meant to say when you just, meet a girl at a bar and all that kind of stuff. And that was kind of the Bible for men then. I don't know if it's still around now. Maybe it is, but it's cool. I think the medium's changed now from a blogging sphere, and this is the cool thing, how it kind of ties in with Otaa as well. Like 14 years ago, blogs were a big thing, people writing were a big thing. Now it's like what you're doing, that's the thing. That's like you putting yourself on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram. It's things being digital, accessible, communicated well. That's the skill set, and how to do things in a bite-sized format, especially with all these short platforms, and communicating that to garner an audience.
So we've touched on the subject of AI a little bit. I want to ask you a bit more directly. I mean, as AI gets better at writing, at editing, at even generating images and faces, Where do you think that leaves a brand like yours? You know, a brand that is so much built on personality, on taste and story. What do you think the future holds there?
I'm gonna disagree with you there, and I'm gonna agree with you to an extent. Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna present the counter viewpoint. The counter viewpoint is we're already seeing AI influencers. You're definitely correct as of right now. Like I mean, if you ever seen those stories where these AI girl influencers get like hundreds of thousands of likes and they're already monetizing it and that kind of stuff, I think where it's going to go in the long term, not talking about 1 month, I'm talking about maybe 5 or 10 years, is there'll be and it's already kind of happening where if you are a AI influencer, there'll have to be a clear label. Um, and or if you're a real person, there'll be a badge. Hey, this is a real person. And I think if you're a real person, you're going to get more reach through the algorithm because people are going to want to see that more so. And I think in-person meetups will be a thing as well, more so because people are going to cherish communities more than ever. I think that's kind of where it's going to go. And in the short term, we're seeing a lot of AI sludge. But on the flip side, I think that you'll be all right, man. I think the personal brand will be protected long term because people listen to people. You know, I think that's kind of that's my hypothesis of where it's going to go as well.
You've hinted that some of the old Italian houses or tailoring companies are maybe not so thrilled about two Australian brothers muscling into their lane, into their industry. What kind of resistance or snobbery have you felt from the old guard of menswear?
Barely works. It's 275 euros. You write to their customer email support. They don't respond. They generally hate you. Look at their trust pilot. It's less than 2 stars. Like I think, and so we're the antidote to that. Like we've got 15,000 5-star reviews on Otaa. We generally love our customers, and I think it. By the way, that's all hard to do. Like it's not like oh we just did it. Like that takes grit, work. If someone doesn't like their product, guess what? We refund them. We're like, okay, if you don't like it, we're gonna refund you. Like we're not gonna keep the money. Like it's a personal thing with me. Like if you like to love the brand, and if you don't want to be part of it, that's okay as well. We're not gonna hold you by the thing. It's like oh, you gave us $50. It's like no, okay, here's a refund. Take the money back. We understand. But it's generally just not the case. But yeah, the old Italian fashion houses, it's really interesting because we have an Italian influencer. His name's Daniele. He's pretty much, we call him one of the other brothers. But anyone who wears Otas, he, he is though. He might as well be. I think he's so passionate about Ota, and but he print screens messages all the time from these Italian houses, and he does a really good job of just kind of returning them to service, saying, "Look, we've got over." He's got more pride on the business than I do, and I love obviously Ota, but he's just like we're in the White House, we're in the Australian Parliament, we've got over 500,000 customers, and he does a really good job being an ambassador of Ota. And but yeah, but again, even those fashion houses, I to your point, they've got amazing products as well. Like I think it's not to knock them, it's more, it's just interesting. They don't want these old guard people don't want you entering the space. It needs to be fixed. And I think that it's probably consistent with a lot of industries. If you think about it, if there's like a new actor on the block, there's probably an old guard who doesn't want to let the new guy on the scene who's probably younger, more handsome. If you go, I've heard this in like academics, it's quite a thing as well. Like if you're a new academic with new ideas, you better shut up and go to the corner and don't say anything. So I think it must be a human condition thing where like the old guard becomes there and they get stuck in their ways. They don't want anyone new to enter with new ideas. If you do, get in line and know where you are in terms of the pecking order. I think it's probably consistent among a lot of industries.
One of the sweetest things you told me off camera was that in the early days of Ota, you were writing, handwritten notes to your first customers. I mean, how do you keep that feeling of intimacy and connection with your customer base when you suddenly go from doing one order a day to, 500,000 customers around the world?
As the business grew, it eventually became literally impossible unless we, you know, 24/7 me just writing it down. But for me personally, I didn't want to let go of that. So I'm like, what's the way I can digitize this? So we have a digital approach where we personalize the emails for every single customer. We make it feel like you're part of the brothers and you are one of us when you come to Otaa as well. So the personalization we try to scale out as well, which has been a really interesting exercise to almost when you walk into a tailor shop, the suit is always going to be tailored to your exact fit, which is always going to fit better. Like there's no doubt, I'm not going to contest that. But how can we have that online tailor approach and make them feel like it's a necktie of one, a shirt of one, the accessories of one? That's kind of the approach of Otaa. And that's why I think we're able to actually grow the range as much as we have, especially with the shirts and obviously the ties, just having that personalized element. But at the start, like you said, it's just when you get one order a day, it's like I'm definitely going to write this person. I'll be insane not to. I'm so grateful that they're giving me the time of day.
On the content side, did you have a similar experience where you were initially able to reply to every single comment and now you've had to kind of pull back just to maintain your own sanity and workload?
I think that's kind of like the buy-in that I've recognized, that if I'm entering the personal founder brand and getting myself more out there, it's going to invite negative comments. And we have a negativity bias, unfortunately. Like if we have 1,000 positive comments and one negative comment, your brain just goes straight to a negative comment. And obviously the negative comments compound. And if you that is literally the buy-in of the game of being in a personal brand. I think that's what a lot of people don't kind of recognize, because I'm generally very introverted. I don't need to put myself out there. But I want to try and learn and kind of grow and do it. But I've already noticed, I'm like, for example, I got a lot of shit. The very very first interview I did, I was like a nervous wreck. I remember the camera's going on. The lights literally left my head. I'm like, I can't even speak. So I was just happy that they were able to get a coherent video at the end of it. And the top comment, it had like over 100 likes, which actually, I liked it as well. It actually was kind of funny. The person's like, this guy's wearing a shirt, but he's not wearing a necktie. What the hell? It's like he wears a necktie brand. I'm like, okay, that's really funny. I actually liked it and responded to it as well. I'm like, yeah, good point. I actually wanted to go a little bit more casual. But yeah, I think you generally just have it, and that wasn't too bad, by the way. I mean, it's kind of interesting. But I think the bigger you get on the internet, I think you're gonna get, I guess, haters is the word, and the negative comments. I think you have to have strong mental fortitude, man. A lot of people bow out of the race gracefully. They say, you know what, this is not for me. I'm going to do something else. So I always look at people I admire are people who start businesses and brands and who do extremely well, because I'm like, I know for a fact that if you're coordinating teams, growing revenue and that kind of stuff, you have to be extremely organized. The second type of people I'm really I think are amazing, like yourself, who have the personal mental fortitude to grow a personal brand, put themselves out there and, invite the love, but also in equal parts can be kind of criticism. So it's always interesting to see, because I'm very early on in the journey. I'm like literally nobody. Everyone knows Otaa, but no one knows myself. But it's interesting to see the very early signs of it. So be nice in the comments, people.
Well, we've talked a lot about the brand. Now I'm kind of curious about you and your lifestyle just as a modern man with a family and a business to run. So what does a typical day in the life look like for you? I mean, compared to those brutal 15-hour days that you were doing in the earlier years, what's life like for you now, Fameez?
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I think running a business, for anyone who knows, is like the never-ending sprint, where if you have a job, generally speaking, and again, I'm being general because I've worked 13-hour shifts at night shift yards. I think at the start you asked me what I was doing before Otaa. I didn't really answer the question because I was just trying to get the story out there. But before Otaa, I actually was working 13-hour shifts at a logistics trucking yard, and I was also balancing law school as well. So I'm a notorious law school dropout. And also also I was doing the business at the same time. So I was spinning 3 plates. Now the constraints of the business have changed where it's now about managing teams, collaborating with people, collaborating with editors, and almost shifting to like a almost like when you run a business, you're kind of constantly firing yourself from roles. Before I used to do the picking and packing. Now I'm not doing that. Then the next thing is you're doing the marketing. Okay, you get a marketing person, and then it just so forth and so forth. So you're constantly firing yourself from roles. In terms of how the day looks like now, similar to yourself, I'm pretty structured. I think structure and routine is you're able to actually grow with that. I'm pretty consistent. My day is actually extremely boring. Like I wake up, get sunlight on my skin, have double espresso, sparkling water. I fast for 18 hours a day, which is kind of great. When I tell people that, they think that it's kind of insane, but it's the reason why I do that is because I like to eat all my calories at nighttime. I'm a glutton at nighttime. But yeah, then play with the baby in the morning, which is amazing. She's into Peppa Pig, so we're watching that quite a bit. And I try to get her to watch some Japanese anime, but she's not interested right now. And then, yeah, man, just go to work, do the thing. And within the constraints of that, and then obviously go to the gym, I'm able to build consistency and routine that you're able to actually sort of get things kind of done. So that's kind of the season of life where I'm at right now. It wasn't like that at the start. At the start, it was like I didn't know how much work I was doing, working 13 hours, starting a business, and also law school. It was kind of insane as well. So my parents migrated from Fiji Islands. I grew up in a Nook bar, cinema, and a video shop. So my dad was a serial entrepreneur. We didn't come from money, but he had a lot of, he had a lot of businesses that didn't really sort of take. There was enough to put food on the table. So we're obviously always grateful for that. But we always grew up around that. So as older as I've gotten, it's almost relearning the routines because I'm always been in the business. It's really interesting, or a business, whether it's my parents' business or the ones that we've started. But now I think now I try to have a structured routine, and I tend to do the same things every single day. I find that yields the best results for now. That's kind of where I'm at with the routine level.
Well, this has been a really rich, long conversation, and I've absolutely loved every minute of it. So for the guy that's thinking, I need to upgrade my shirts and my ties, where should he go to find you? What should he do? What should he start off with maybe as his first Otaa purchase?
Yeah. No, well, firstly, yeah, appreciate that, man. Head to Otaa.com. If you want shirts and ties and cufflinks, the world's best, as Fox News has said. And yeah, I think I remember you did it I actually watched it a couple nights ago. You did a wardrobe thing, and I saw the Otaa linen tie in there. But I want your the best compliment I get from people is when they say my go-to hand goes to the Otaa shirt when they grab it from the closet. So I'm going to convert you to the Otaa shirts next as well, because I think they're awesome. I'm actually wearing one right now. They're tailored. And yeah, man, it's been awesome. It's been awesome speaking, man.
Thank you again to Fameez for appearing on today's episode. And thank you also to Otaa.com for sponsoring the conversation. If you would like to pick up a shirt, a necktie, or one of the many other accessories available at Otaa.com, just use the discount code JamesLawley10, that's JamesLawley10, for a 10% off at checkout.